Welcome back, guys. SimFBallCritic here, and this is going to be somewhat of a lengthy video, a little longer than the videos you're used to, having from me. But it's a lot to show here. I'm going to be jumping around. There's different screens that I'll be showing you, and I'll try to commentate it as you see it, because there's no real particular order. But I'm going to explain to you, man, why I feel like the 2K still does it the best, or one of the best, as far as franchise modes. And what you're looking at here, I'm playing MyLeague, and this is just like the home screen after you've play the game. It lets you know who's coming up next. You can quickly see the rankings. You can see your current record and things like that. Pretty basic. But now you're going to take a look at some other stuff. And like I said, I'm going to try to commentate it as we see it. I'm sure I may be a little off because I didn't time it out or anything like that. But now I'm looking at the calendar, right? And I'm going to show you what they have here is the training schedule. So you can go in and you can adjust it as the day appears. You can do 1 day or 3 days, or you can actually do more days in advance, more weeks in advance, which is great. If you want to go in and set all that up, maybe you want to do a month's worth of scheduling the training, you can do that. And I think that's great. You don't have to adjust these things each week. It's like preset. Maybe the next couple of weeks, you want to focus on something else. You can do that all in advance. And I like how they break it down in terms of, different areas like the physical and, different tendencies and fundamentals and things like that that you can focus on. That's great. So, of course, they have the little social media area. That's good. We see that in other games as well, whether it's a Twitter feed or what have you. Right here, you're looking at the team overview, and it just, quickly shows you where you are and where you're ranking as far as your team. Now, the injury report, I really love how the injury report is laid out. And like I said, most other sports franchises have something similar, but I just like how it looks here. It shows you the different severity, I guess, of the injury by the color. I like how they, differentiate the red from the yellow, and it kind of indicates, if it being very serious and, a minor, or, they will return, or a less amount of time that they'll be out. And I love the hits to the ratings. Definitely they take a huge hit. The bigger the injury, they're going to take more of a hit in the rating department. I love that. All right, so as we take a look here at the front office, there's a lot of different things here. And I'm not going to go into everything in that section. I believe I'll come back to it shortly. But this is a big one right here, especially us CFM fans, as far as like Madden practice. In this game, you can do a live practice, whether it's freestyle or scrimmage. And we need stuff like that to return in CFM. You need to be able to fully practice with your team and let them advance, get better as you practice. How else can you decide who you want to play? In some situations, you might have an emerging star during the season, and practice is the only way for you to see how he performs. Now look at this stuff. I know I'm a little behind here, but look at all of these comparisons and the game plans. I love this. And the comparisons actually will come up a little later, but I love the game planning. I can go in here and I can adjust the way I want to play against, say, the Grizzlies, or maybe I got the Heat coming into town. I could go in and decide how I want to play against them. But what makes it, so great, in my opinion, I can do the same game plan for every team if I want, or I can go in and pick and choose separately based on my opponent, as well as I can do these things in advance. That's what's crazy. I can scroll through all of those teams and knowing I have a team coming up on the schedule, but I already have the way I want to play them and the game plan already in place. Again, that gives you more stuff as far as, things to do outside of the game, to keep it immersive. So let's take a look at the, the scouting. I love the mock draft idea, and you're going to see it from different sources. You got the Draft Express here. Then I believe it's 2K, and then you have NBA.com. And again, man, these are things that keeps it more immersive, because I'm pretty sure these things change. I'm thinking the rankings are going to change based on whether Draft Express is giving it to you or, NBA.com reporting. And as you can see there, it does change a bit. Good stuff, man. You understand what I'm saying? Now here we go with the player comparisons. Now you can look at 2 players on your team, shows their strengths and weaknesses, which is great. Or you can compare someone on your team to another player in another team. And this is what I'm talking about, man. Strengths and weaknesses. So now, along with this information, you can really go back and decide how you want to game plan against a team and scout your opponent. Once again, these are things that make the game immersive. And I'm speaking for guys who are big time career mode players like myself. You know, again, you know, we always have to refer back to Madden because that's the only football game we have. CFM players. These are the types of things that we want in the game, on and offline, as far as your league. The immersion, you know, depth. That's how you get depth, is when you add these types of things. Same situation here with the coaches. You know, you could do your coach comparison, and again, showing the coach's strengths and the weaknesses. All good stuff, man. The more information you have in a season or an offline or online, you know, career mode, that's the more immersive it's going to be. Look at the grades. And that's another thing, you know, letter grading and tendency-based things versus just, you know, always showcasing a player's, you know, numerical value. You have to get, you know, more grades and things like that. And when you're doing scouting and when you're doing things like, you know, trying to figure out how good a player is in a certain area. You know, I want to see definitely football games, or football game, Madden, I want to see them move towards that as well. You know, having it more, you know, skill-based and not focusing heavily on the numericals. You know, of course, you got to have some numerical values. We understand that, you know, like speed and things like that. But we need to start getting more, you know, tendencies and traits and more, you know, skills given to a player, and grades, you know, give them a little more letter grades and things like that. Make it a little more robust, so then we can decide, you know, what this player's value is. Now look at this team development. You know, you can go through and see how your team is developing. Same thing with each individual player. You know, again, this gives you the ability to decide what areas you need to work on. You know, you see, look at all of that. Look at the attributes, and you know, as you're going to see, it shows you the percentage that you have, that, you know, you're close to the next tier or what have you. Great stuff, man. Gives you stuff to work on. You know, it shows you where your team is weak, how they're coming along, how they're developing. And as you can see, it's broken down into the, you know, the tactical and the fundamental again, just like it is with your training schedule. So that helps you plan out the training for each player. See what I mean? Great stuff, man. And now let's take a look at the meat of what I really wanted to talk about, even though it's closer to the end of the video. Look at how they break down the players. Look at all these different attributes, man. And I'm going to, you know, stay in this area for a while, because one of the major things I want to talk about is, will come near to, you know, very near to the end of this video, because I didn't know exactly where to find it because there was so many screens. But just look at all these different things that you see here. You know, all of these different attributes, they're the comparisons right there. This is what I'm talking about, man. It's a lot of information. And it ties everything together. It ties everything to the gameplay. Because believe me, when you have the right slider sets, and when I mean slider sets, I'm talking about settings like, you know, morale and the chemistry, and you start tinkering with those things. I like to play them, you know, on a higher metric. You know, like I like to turn the chemistry effects and morale effects up, because to me, it makes it a little more realistic. Again, shout outs to my man DJ81 that put me on to that. But you really start seeing these things all tie together. You know, look at all of this stuff here. You know, you have your numerical values, but then you also have the letter grades and stuff like that. So it's just crazy, man. And I know I'm missing stuff. I know I'm definitely missing things. It's a lot to show, but here it is. This is one of the major things that caught my eye. Look at how it breaks down the injury on the body. This even affects how you play, because now you know where your guy is, you know, where he's susceptible. This is crazy. And they have like the season fatigue, so it's progressive fatigue throughout the season. You can see how your player, you know, how he's feeling. This is what I'm talking about, man. And this is the reason why I feel like this mode is absolutely great, and 2K still does a great job with displaying it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Let me know what you think. Don't forget, guys, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Sim Standard Radio. If you want to reach us, you can give us a call at 914-338-0794. For more content, click the link above.